I'm not quite sure how long the tower's been around. It's fairly new, but our class was given the privilege of giving the tower a name, and the name we came up with was the Gauntlet because historically the Gauntlet was a line of people, two lines of people, and then you would have to run through the middle while you were beaten with bags and sticks and whatnot. And we figured that metaphorically speaking, that's sort of what the tower represents, just a beating, a little reminder that we need to keep on our toes. "22 weeks of this kind of intensity is definitely hard. I mean, it's definitely one of the most challenging things I've ever had to do. And intensity has started day one and hasn't really let up. I mean, when I'm not here, usually I'm studying something or going over something or reading something for the academy, shining, polishing, sanding an axe. It's just as much work outside the academy as it is inside the academy while we're here. And I think we've all kind of fallen into a bit of a routine. We all kind of know what to expect on a day-to-day basis, but they throw a monkey wrench in there sometimes, keep us on our toes. So it's all good, but it's definitely one of the most intense ordeals I've ever had to persevere through.
Start out in the morning with PT, and that kind of kicks your butt, and then you got to come back in class and be ready to go. We usually start out with with an exam in the morning, and then head out and start working away, whether it's doing RIC, swiftwater rescue. Right now we're doing RS1, but yeah, it's intense.
Reaching for the brass ring is the symbol of going for the best. So when the recruits showed up, we handed each one of them a brass ring, and it was theirs to lose. They'd been given the brass ring, it was theirs to lose. And if they academically did not perform or manipulatively did not perform, they would lose the brass ring. And we don't want that to happen to anyone, but the standards of the fire service are high and our expectations are high. We are not, playing tiddlywinks. We are dealing with life and death, and therefore we have to perform at 100%. So I'm happy to say that everyone that is graduating tonight has kept their brass ring, but it's still theirs to lose. And we've done everything we can for them. Now they have to go out and prove it.
I think I went home the day we did Wildland and told my wife I did pretty much the coolest thing I've ever done with the helicopter landing a couple feet from me.
You don't get opportunities like that to train with live fire.
Going out there and being blinded by the smoke and not being able to breathe as good and getting lost up only 10 feet in front of the engine was something different. It was a real eye opener.
recruits wildland fire training, we had a very excellent opportunity to train with Sacramento Metro Copter 1. Late in the season, fire helicopters, particularly in the valley, don't like to take any water out of it in reservoirs because that's the water that's remaining until the rains come. Farmers get upset, golf courses get upset, that type of thing. So they do something called a water point operation. Water point operation is where you use a water tender that we would typically use to pump water to a fire engine to fill the helicopter's belly tank. Our recruits had opportunity to learn how to do this in what we call a hot load operation, where literally the helicopter pilot will land 3 feet away from where the person that connects the hose is kneeling down on the ground. 15 feet away from that person is the person that's on the valve. And then the people behind that are anchoring the fire hose, and there's 100 foot of 2.5-inch fire hose that connects to the water tender. And then the person on the valve opens up the valve, fills the belly tank. The person on the hose signals to the pilot that they're completed, and then they disconnect, and then the pilot flies off. This operation takes no more than 30 seconds. Pilot goes with the crew member, they drop water on the fire, they immediately turn around, and they come back and they land again right next to that person with the hose, and they fill it up again. And was just an awesome training opportunity for our recruits.
Hi, I'm Linda Lichty. I'm the Performance and Development Coordinator for the Cosumnes CSD Fire Department. What they're doing here today is some scenario work so that they can get prepared to go out and work in the ambulances. We think it's a good idea to get the recruits ready for field work by having them practice scenarios. Everyone takes a turn being the lead medic or the lead EMT. They then run the call, directing their crews on what to do. Then while they're taking care of the patient, following Sacramento County protocols, and after the scenario is all done, then we sit down and talk about the good things or how areas that they thought they could improve on, just general thought to make their care better and get them acclimated to the CSD Fire Department.
Usually most academies are based particularly on fire, and then when you get out in the field, obviously around 80% of your calls are EMS based. And then what do? You have to fall back on that training, and luckily we get it here.
A wealth of knowledge, a variety of different people that are willing to teach and like to teach, and a ton of experience. It's not just turning in reports and running calls, it's making sure you're running your calls appropriately and documenting after you run the calls correctly.
The EMS here is great. It's looked up to by everybody that I've talked to. They definitely have the bar set high, and most of the people that work here live in the district as well, so knowing that we're going to be responding to their family is, I think, a little extra motivation to make sure we all know our stuff and do it well. And Mrs. Lichty is just unbelievably, she's phenomenal. She's sets the bar high and makes sure that we keep that standard, and takes it to a personal level to train us if we're weak in one area or our documentation is poor or this or that. She really gets at it so that we get the training done and really keep everything to a high standard. As far as water rescue, this is all new. I've never learned anything. I've never sat through a lecture to actually learn about hydraulics and the dynamics of water or any rescue practices. Fortunately, I did grow up loving water and swimming and taking swimming lessons, and I've always played in the rivers and had exposure that way, so I'm not too nervous. I feel comfortable in the water, and now it just feels really good to now get the professional standpoint and the technical background with all these very experienced instructors to just really learn and then apply the knowledge and the practice to get judgment, and it's just coming together really awesome. It's fun.
Take what you can, 'cause you won't be here again. No, I love you then, like I love you now. It won't matter anyhow. Well, this is the new frontier. Everybody out of the water.
Today we are building the human spirit. They are strong physically, but they need to know that they can go beyond their limits in their minds and in their hearts. Once they get through this evolution, they will know that they'll be able to do anything that they are required of.
what you need, but take less than you give. Could you close every day without the glory and fame? Could you hold your head high when no one knows your name? That's how legends are made. At least that's what they say. We say goodbye, but never let go. We live, we die, 'cause you can't save every soul. Gotta take every chance to show that you're the kind of man who will never look back, never look down, and never let go. Can you lose everything you ever had planned? Can you sit down again and play another hand? Could you risk everything for the chance of being alone? Under pressure, find the grace. Would you come undone? That's how legends are made. At least that's what they say. We say goodbye, but never let go. We live, we die, 'cause you can't save every soul. Gotta take every chance